Welcome back, everybody. The elections last Tuesday were, well, not great for Republicans and actually quite bad news for New York, where an open socialist, Zohran Mamdani, has now become mayor-elect of that city. So should Republicans consider last week a wake-up call for the midterms? Joining us now to discuss that and more, like his own congressional midterm race, he's the former governor of Maine who is now running for Congress in that state, Paul LePage. Sir, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, let's start with New York. Let's start with the bad news and then move towards the good news being you running for Maine, too. Does this seem like a flash in the pan? I mean, you look at the demographics of folks who voted for Zohran Mamdani, and it's pretty clear that you got a lot of young New Yorkers and also non-native New Yorkers who voted for him. Is this maybe flirting with the devil for one mayoral term, and then New York will wake up and go back to the way things should be?
Well, I hope so, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case because in Maine, we have a Mamdani candidate for the U.S. Senate who's going to primary. He's going to be involved in a primary against the current governor. He's leading in the polls right now, so I'm a little bit worried about what's happened to the youth of our nation.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And if that spreads across the country and we have more of these candidates emerging, because Paul, what's most concerning to me, I don't think the worst case scenario is that Zohran Mamdani is able to do what he said he wants to do in New York. To me, the worst case scenario is that he's not able to, or that it's a slow burn. And then all of the people who supported him for mayor, for a seat that, let's face it, the mayor of a city doesn't have autonomous control of that city. They got to play nice with the governor of that state as well. So my biggest fear is that he won't be able to do all of the things he wanted to do. And then you've got all of his little supporters out there who will say, see, you said things would get terrible and they didn't. And people won't attribute what could happen down the road that he set in motion. They won't attribute it to him. And then we'll get people like Zohran Mamdani running for positions across this country like governor that do have a ton of power over an entire state.
Well, that's true, and I will tell you this: I have been to Russia on a couple of occasions, and it was back when it was real bad, and then when it got a little bit better. I was in Russia when it was under communist control. It was horrible, and then I went to Russia later on in the mid 2008, I believe, and communism had been broken and destroyed, and the country was on the move again. Unfortunately, we don't learn from history, and we should. Schools don't often teach history the way it was intended, and we pay the price. I'm running for Congress because I see the future of our country in terrible and terribly straight. I think the elections of the gang, like the AOCs, are really changing the dynamics of where we're heading as a nation. I think the election last Tuesday, while it wasn't good for Republicans, and I'd never expected it to be good for Republicans. When you're talking about New York City, you're talking about
Right.
New Jersey, you're talking about Virginia. Virginia, a purple state. I had some hopes that maybe the strength of Youngkin might help the candidate running for governor, but it didn't. But they're really blue leaning or purple states. So I really wasn't that concerned. What concerns me is the midterms. And usually the incumbent president or the party in power get hit pretty hard during the midterms. And so I'm running for Congress because CD2 in Maine is a plus Republican seat being held by a Democrat. And he's a flip-flopper, and so I decided I'd run against him. Unfortunately, he's now decided he's not going to run for re-election, so I don't know who the candidate's going to be at this point.
Well, whoever it is, does it help Republicans across the board, but you to make Zohran Mamdani the poster boy for the Democrat Party?
Well, yes, I think so. President Trump won CD2 3 times. I ran in CD2 3 times, and I've won it 3 times. I beat the incumbent governor when I ran against her in 22. I won CD2, but lost in CD1. I believe it's a very strong, in fact, it's probably the strongest MAGA district east of Mississippi. And so I believe we're going to do very well. The polls have me way up. We're doing very, very well. I believe that we're going to take this and we're going to help the slim majority get a little bit bigger.
I think that's great. So when it comes to CD2 in Maine, you are obviously beloved as a former governor of that state, but what are the issues that you are hearing about the most, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure is going to be the case with Republicans across the country, whatever those issues are?
Kitchen table issues, the economics, jobs, housing. In Maine, we have the cost of living, food, the cost of food, energy, and housing. It's what's happening around the nation as a result of having Biden in the White House for 4 years.
How did Mainers react to the government shutdown? I mean, we hope that it's going to end with this next vote, but did you find that along party lines, that's how people felt about it? That if they were typically a Republican in Maine, that they supported Republicans throughout this, and same thing for the Democrats?
Right way. I believe the liberal Democrats, the progressives, favor the shutdown and would like to see it continue to stay shut down. There's a few I would call blue dog Democrats still left in CD2, and they are death against the shutdown. The shutdown is really hurting the state of Maine in particular. CD2 is a very poor rural district, and it's hurting everybody. It's hurting our schools. It's hurting our grocery stores. It's hurting the shutdown. Being so rural, transportation is a big issue, and we're having problems getting the necessary goods and services to the second district.
Well, Paul, you are a familiar face in that state, a familiar name in that state, and we wish you all the luck in running for Congressional District 2. Tell everybody where they can find more about your campaign and donate.
You go to LePageForCongress.com. We have a very strong Facebook presence. You can sign up, be a volunteer. You can sign up and just supporting. We're trying to build the database so that people can talk about our campaign. We're a grassroots campaign, and that's how I campaign. I'm a retail campaigner, and I would welcome people from around the country to join and see what we do. Every day we update our Facebook. Today we did some Veterans Day appearances, and they're on the Facebook right now, and we'd love to see people join.
All right, everybody head there and LePage for Congress. Paul, kudos to you for getting in the fight. It is definitely going to be that up until next November. All right, everybody, coming up, we have our weekly Just the News Health Update, so we'll see you on the other side.